The most important person in the whole wide world is you, and you hardly even know you. The most important person in the whole wide world is you. Come on, we'll show you. Let's find out more about the things you feel and do, 'cause you're the most important person in the world to you.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit, and I am Sonya Spirit. Welcome today, listeners. Today is Wednesday, February. Oh, my goodness. Where am I? Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. And the title of today's show is Healing Cognitive Dissonance. There has been a lot of activity happening in the world, family. 2020 has been a year to be reckoned with. So there is something going on in the universe. There's always something going on in the universe, but it's a collective effort in terms of the planet is concerned. So we're all seeing things at the same time. Now, how we process them is another story, but we are all witnessing them at the same time. Okay, so in the description of healing cognitive dissonance, of course, in previous episodes last week, the ABCs of manifestation was all about how we naturally manifest, okay, when our thought and our feeling is sometimes it's emotion, sometimes it's just a vibration, okay, and sometimes you're cognizant of it and sometimes you're not, but it still exists. So when your thought and your feeling are aligned, conscious and subconscious, then we manifest whatever it is that we desire, okay? Good, bad, and indifferent. The subconscious does not judge. It can be programmed, but it does not judge. Okay, so some of the questions that we want to address in this particular episode, what happens when they are not aligned? Okay, well, when they are not aligned, when the mind and the heart, or conscious and subconscious, when they are not aligned, we do not manifest, okay? That's why we don't know, many of us don't know how magical we really are, okay? We are creations of God, and we are imbued with God's power, okay, the power to create. And we have the power to create with our minds. And we do. Now, the difference between us and God is God doesn't have a two-point system. God is God, so God does what God wants to do when God wants to do it, if God even wants, okay? Now, with man or humans is our thoughts and our heart has to be aligned. Our thought and our feeling has to match in order for us to manifest. Okay, they have to be aligned. The mind, which of course is the thought, it is electric. It sends out the signal. The heart, which is represented by the subconscious, which is represented by the heart, what it does is it attracts the necessary energy so that it can be transformed into a physical object or an experience. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a physical experience, but it can be an experience, whatever it is that you so desire. So this energy is, the signal is sent, more energy is attracted, and then the subconscious, with the aid of the superconscious, transforms this energy, and voila, it appears in our life as an experience of some sort, even if it's an object. Okay, but what happens when they are not aligned? Well, when they are not aligned, we don't manifest, period. And we have plenty of examples of that in our life, but we'll come back to that. So let's talk about let's break for a second and talk about cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance, basically, as the dictionary describes it, it's the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. Okay. Cognitive dissonance, well, cognitive means a thought, okay, of mental activity. So cognition is thought, thinking, your mind, mental activity. Dissonance is disharmony. So there is a conflict. The thought is in conflict with the feeling. Generally is the feeling. We'll get into the types of cognitive dissonance. Okay, so that's cognitive dissonance. We all experience it, like to some degree in our lives. Some of it is minor. You probably don't even notice it. It's probably insignificant. And I'll give you, for example, let me give you an example since we're here. So a wife asks her husband, do I look fat in this outfit or this dress or these pants? And the husband says, no, honey, you don't. When actuality, he wants to scream, take it off because it is not flattering you. But if he says that, if he is honest, if he is truthful, now if they have that relationship, it's a different story, but more often than not, he's going to lie. That's a cognitive dissonance because he really feels like, yes, it's not flattering you, okay? But I don't want to tell you that because you spent money on this outfit and you're going to take it out on me. So he lies. Okay, that's cognitive dissonance. He thinks one thing, he feels something else, and he says something. Okay, so the what he says goes with, it doesn't agree with either one because he feels like you shouldn't wear it, and he's thinking it, but that's not what he expresses. Okay, so the action doesn't agree with the thought or the feeling. Okay, so that's a small one. It's usually, to a degree, it's innocuous. Nobody really cares. It's kind of harmless. And there's a lot of little bitty ones. Oftentimes when you feel guilty, it is because it is a product of some form of cognitive dissonance. That's what guilt is. You did something and you knew it wasn't right. You said something and you shouldn't have said it. You felt a certain way, but you didn't express it that way. Okay. Cognitive disharmony. Disharmony, that's what it all boils down to. Okay, so there are other cognitive dissonance. For example, buyer's remorse. That's another, it's just a different term because of the industry. But buyer's remorse is when you go out and you purchase something, usually a large ticket item, but it doesn't have to be. And you was all caught up in the moment when you purchased it, and then you get home and you be like, that was not a smart move. I shouldn't have bought that boat. I shouldn't have bought that motorcycle. I shouldn't have bought that house that may be a little out of my budget. The guilt comes in. Purge the guilt. Okay, it doesn't serve you. So you're going to have to reconcile that in your mind. So with buyer's remorse, usually most contracts for big ticket items have a 3-day rescission period, but not always. Check your state laws. But that's a type of cognitive dissonance as well, okay, because your actions don't match how you feel or think. Now, the thing about that's more of a delayed one. Buyer's remorse is more of a delayed one because the conflict doesn't occur during the initial experience. It's much later on, okay? It may be afterwards, after you take the product home or after you had time to think about it or who knows. But it's usually a delayed response. So that's another form of cognitive dissonance. And then a more systemic form of cognitive dissonance is the isms. Racism, sexism, classism. Now, I'm not saying it applies to everyone, but I don't know if you've been paying attention or periodically jump in and jump out, which is what I do in terms of the news is concerned. But, oh, shucks. Okay, so I saw protesters with a sign that said, silence is violence, or silence equals violence. And that's interesting because if you are silent, okay, choosing to be silent, if you are silent and you disagree with not doing anything. So let's say, for example, yes, racism is wrong, sexism is wrong, any kind of ism, for the most part, classism, it's wrong. However, you're not affected by it. So you're not about to step out there and protest on behalf of those who don't have those rights or that equality, okay? So you know it's not right, but you don't say anything. That's the silence equaling violence, okay? Now, I get where the protesters is coming from, and they're right. They're right. And not everyone, well, let me just stick to the script. So people who have this cognitive dissonance, a lot of it is fear-based, okay? It doesn't affect me, or I'm not affected by it, and I don't want to rock the boat, okay? We can, the whole George Floyd thing, George Floyd, that's not a new situation, okay? And the reason it's not a new situation because 5 years ago, I think it was July 17th, 2014, or July in 2014, but Eric Garner in New York was also choked to death by a plethora of police officers. One in particular cut off his air supply, and the other was a supporting cast, same as with George Floyd. The only difference between the police officers is George Floyd's were in uniform and Eric Garner's were plain clothes. Okay? But it didn't involve guns. It involved cutting off the circulation. So what's taking place with protesting and standing up for racial equality is an absolutely beautiful thing. Don't get it twisted. I am not complaining. And I hope that it can be nonviolent, but it is what it is. And there's a whole lot of shenanigans going on too, but I'm not here to address that. What I do want to discuss is, so with racism or sexism or anything else, we got a couple of things going on here. So I want to say with respect to George Floyd, and then I want to get back to cognitive dissonance. With respect to George Floyd and that horrific situation, the reason I brought that up is and brought up the fact that it isn't that much different from a previous incident is because, someone, a friend of mine said, well, they didn't use a gun. Well, that's not the first time they've not used a gun. So that's not it. That's not the difference that brought this case to everyone's attention. Now, it could be the simple fact that, of course, the pandemic was holding people hostage. So all you had on TV, all you saw on the news, every time I popped in and out, was everything about coronavirus, period. 24/7, coronavirus TV. I don't care what channel you turn it on, with respect to the news. So here now you have a captive audience, and now they get to witness. But there's also some organization taking place too. So I'm not familiar with the group Antifa, but I hear the organizers that create, to organize the protests across the nation. And of course, the commander-in-chief wants to label them terrorists. Okay, I'm not going to go there because it's not that show. But what I want to say about the George Floyd case is that the timing of it. It's 5 years later. There's a lot going on in the universe. Particularly in this year with 2020, we had the pandemic. And George Floyd is not even the first police murder this year. Last month it was, and the young lady's name escaped me, in Louisville, shot to death in her bed while she was asleep. Okay, like I said, this is not that show. My point is this: there's cognitive dissonance. So when people know that racism and sexism is wrong, and they don't do anything, it's the same like you heard. If somebody tells a racist joke and you listen and you don't correct them or you don't take yourself out of the equation, then basically you support it. You're fueling it with energy. And think about this, folks. Energy is all we are, okay? Energy is what manifests things, from the mind to a physical manifestation or to an experience. Okay, so energy is all we have. So it is important that we learn how to be the authority over our energy, because our thoughts do become things. So let's get back to the cognitive dissonance with the isms. Now, lying to your wife or spouse about not looking fat in an outfit is one thing. I'm sure you dismiss that, and it has no more effect on you. Buyer's remorse. You have the opportunity to return whatever it is that you're in conflict with. Or you reconcile it in your mind to accept, hey, I bought it because I wanted it. I'm going to have to dismiss the guilt of spending more than I wanted to, or whatever initiated the guilt. But with the isms, particularly systemic ones, racism, sexism, this type of cognitive dissonance, this type of disharmony, and we've discussed disharmony in previous episodes, this type of disharmony over a period of time, harboring this type of energy, can cause disease, especially if you are in conflict. The whole silence equal violence thing. If you are in conflict, so if your thoughts and your feelings are in conflict because you know people shouldn't be treated a certain type of way, this could be at the workplace, the way they treat women at the workplace, or how they may treat a certain type of person. Because I know at one point in time, a lot of customer service calls were going to India. And everyone in America was complaining because of the accent, and they couldn't understand. That's another type of ism. Now, of course, that situation doesn't help because you're already frustrated if you call in customer service. So now you got to deal with someone whose accent poses a challenge to communication. Okay? But that type of ism, what I'm trying to say here, is sexism, racism, if you are not in agreement, if you have not integrated this disease thought, if you have not accepted it, then it will create a disease over time. So look at what we have today. The disease has festered. That is what's happening with the George Floyd case. Okay? It's not that it's any different from previous cases, because America has a history of racial inequality when it comes to African Americans or any other kind of Americans come over here from somewhere else, such as the Chinese, Asians, Indians. Well, they're all Asians, Chinese and Indians, that is. But anyone of color, let me put it that way, because they don't have a problem with Europeans or Russians. But that type of cognitive dissonance can kill you. Okay. But this is not what that show is about. This is about the cognitive dissonance that you house internally, which is impeding your process of manifestation. Okay? This is not the about the collective conscious. This is not about social justice, but do know and understand, just like I've mentioned in the past, that racists are insecure. Racists, okay, are insecure. People who don't stand up for others, that are disenfranchised or weaker or marginalized, and you know that you should or could do something to exact change for the better, then you have to live with that karmic energy, okay? And like I said, I'm not judging people. I'm just trying to help you understand what cognitive dissonance is, how it appears, and some of the effects that it has. So yes, it can form disease because it is a disharmony that takes place that stems from the mind. Excuse me. And it can impede your process, your creativity, because that's what manifestation is. It's your creative process, whether you're cognizant of it or not. That's what manifestation is, and it is a natural process between the thought, the head, feeling, the vibration, the heart, okay, the emotion, if you will. So now let's get back to how. I've already touched on the dissonance part. So there's kind of like three things: the thought, feeling, and action, or outcome, or manifestation, whatever you want to call it. There's I said it, the little white lies, buyer's remorse, the isms such as racism, sexism, classism, which creates a fear. The fear, when I say it creates a fear, okay, so the racist himself is already insecure, and chances are he or she is living in fear as well because they've bought into this concept that someone is either not better than them or they should be afraid of them, whatever it is. But I don't really want to focus so much on the racists as much as the ones who don't, who stay silent when they know that it is wrong, because it impacts you too. It impacts you too. It impacts all of us, to be quite honest, because what we do to other people comes back to us. So there is no escaping these things. That's why, I was speaking to a couple of co-hosts earlier because we have a 2:00 show every other Wednesday, but it's on our political sister station, and it's Political Star Talk. And that's on our Third Eye Radio. So the show is Political Star Talk, and then the platform is the Third Eye Political Radio. And we were now that escaped my thought. I lost my thought. But I know I was talking earlier with my co-hosts. I wanted to plug the show, but anyway, hopefully it'll come back to me. Okay, so let's get back to spirituality and our own individual cognitive dissonance. And so what happens when our head and heart are not aligned? We do not manifest, okay? That's why there are things, particularly now as an adult, there are things that you want, you desire a lifestyle for yourself, or things you want in your life. It might be love. It might be a sincere friendship. It might be a teacher, guide, someone to, whatever it is that you choose, that you desire in your life, okay? And if it's not coming to fruition, there is something that is impeding that manifestation process, okay? Clearly, it's not the thought, but then again, it could be. What do I mean by that? Okay, so let's look at a couple examples. We can do love and we can do money. Many of us, not many. I hate saying stuff like many and most, but I don't have numbers, so you got to flow with me. But I don't ever say all or anything like that. Anyway, an example: we want love. We want someone to love us, and we want to love someone. And we find that person. And that person finds us. And now we enjoy the honeymoon period, we love, and then what happens? Something happens where we start self-destructing. It might happen right away, or it might start happening a couple or a few months later. And what's happened is the self-destruction part can look like not trusting your partner. Now, if they give you a reason not to trust them, okay. I'm not talking about that. But I'm not one of those people who say, oh, man, the dogs. No. Not trusting your partner. Start suspecting stuff. I'm not talking about the sixth sense. But, you think something is going on. Or maybe you start cheating. Even though you were the very one who was praying and begging and affirming that you wanted love, you had wanted to give love, and you wanted to be loved. And you found somebody who loved you, but maybe you don't believe it. And you don't even know you don't believe it. But how do I know that you don't believe it? Because that's how it manifests itself when you start self-destructing. It manifests itself as you may cheat because not that you're not happy with this person, not that you don't want this person, but you're afraid that you're not worthy of love, that you don't deserve to be loved. Maybe you're insecure about the way you look or how people have treated you in the past. That's a self-destructive behavior. Believe it or not, infidelity is a self-destructive behavior, oftentimes not because, there are womenizer, menizers, whatever you want to call it. There are people who, yes, don't know what they want or just greedy, however you want to describe that. But I want us to focus on the ones who think they want love, and that is the operative word, who think they want love, and when they receive it, they don't know how to interact and relate and integrate it. It is insecurity. So, you might get cheated on, or you might be the cheater. Or chances are you're not being cheated on, you're just suspecting them of cheating. Or you might be the cheater, okay? And we'll come back to the cheating if you're being cheated on, because that's a separate show, but it does all tie together. Because it's still part of cause and effect and universal law. So everything is related. There is no escape. But I kind of want to stay focused on the scope. Otherwise, I'll be all over the place. And I'm trying to stick to my notes, too, so I can have less brain farts or fewer brain farts. Okay, so when there's cognitive dissonance, as an adult, we think we know what we want. And yet we still can't manifest it. So with love, deep down inside, we may feel like we're not worthy of love. We may have been told when we were younger that, that's not a face that anybody could love, that we're not attractive, or maybe we were abused physically, mentally, emotionally. That has an impact on you. Particularly if the abuse was repetitive. Even if you cover it up or have done your best to deal with it, but not really. So what happens is those feelings of not being loved, not feeling like you're worthy of love, no one will ever love you. That's why they say you have to be conscious of how you speak to children, because you're planting seeds. You're creating a barrier, a blockage, a condition between the mind and the heart, the head and the heart, the thought and the feeling, okay? And those blockages will later on prevent your child, the one that you want to have a better life than you, it will prevent your child from having that life because of the programming that has been instilled, you're not worthy. You're not as pretty as your sister. You would be so cute if you lost weight. She has such a pretty face. Okay? You don't think much of it. You think it might be in passing, but it has an effect. So now you're an adult. Okay? You're an adult, and all you just want is someone to love you so you can forget about all that crap from your childhood or your teenage years. You're an adult now. You're your own person, and you are going to be different. Only you're a lot more complex than you know. So you're attracting these people, partners, and it seems like relationship after relationship, you're not getting what you're looking for. It starts out strong, but then it dissipates. And you may not have any idea the reason all of that is happening is because of feelings that you are holding inside about not feeling worthy of love. And it will destroy your relationships. Or it may not attract the relationship that you're looking for. And it's the same, anything else. Money, health, whatever it is. You've got to identify the pollution and get it out of your head. Identify the pollution and release it from your heart. It's the same with money. I'm a grown person. I know I want to be a millionaire. Well, what's the problem? How come I'm not manifesting it? How come I'm not attracting the energy that will transform my present into a different financial state? Maybe you harbor thoughts about money is the root of all evil. It is easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. Oh, you look on TV, rich people, they're arrogant. They treat people like objects or subjects. And you might feel a certain type of way about rich people. Or you look at them, they don't need all of that. What about not sharing with poor people? What about equity? What about fairness? So you might feel a certain type of way about money. In your mind, you want a lot. In your mind, you want abundance. In your mind, you want to be comfortable. In your mind, you want a surplus to share. But you got some programming in the form of blockages and conditions and impediments that reside between the bottom of your chin or mouth and the top of your heart. Not physically, but in that path. You get what I'm saying? And those blockages, those programs that have been installed in you is what impedes or prevents your manifestation. Okay? Your manifestation, the ability to manifest, the power to manifest is a part of who you are. It is in your DNA. It is the God in you. So to manifest is natural. Actually, to not manifest is unnatural. So it would behoove us to remove these blockages, conditions, and impediments that prevent us that prevents our energy from flowing naturally into transformation and manifestation. Okay, so that's what happens when they are not aligned. How do I know when they are not aligned? Well, I just mentioned that. when you don't manifest something, especially when you're cognizant of it, because we manifest all the time. Like I said, that is what we are. We are creators, okay? Our makeup is just a little different from the absolute, but we are creators. And ours is a two-pronged system, so to speak. So there has to be an alignment. As an adult, when you desire something and you're not attracting that energy and it's not transforming, then you have some internal issues that you have to resolve because it is impeding your manifestation process. Okay. And often it is, more times than not, and I just say that because I haven't read otherwise. So I just hate to speak in absolutes just because I know there's a universe of stuff that I don't know. So what I'm saying is based on the truth that I know today at this moment. But and I lost my train of thought again. But I want you to know I'm practicing memory exercises. So just bear with me, audience. Okay, getting back to being focused. So how do I know when they're not aligned? Because as an adult, and I'm speaking to it as adults, because as an adult, when you don't get what you desire, it's not because the universe doesn't think you deserve it or anything like that, because your subconscious doesn't judge. Your conscious, your thought, your mind says, hey, I want love. Send me an attractive member, a human that will love me. I will love it, blah, blah, blah. And it does, you know. And then, like I said, you start self-destructing. And it happens to people all the time. Some people call it boredom. Listen, we're not going to get into all that. Because, see, if you know yourself, you will behave a certain way. When you don't know yourself, you're all over the place. Distracted, projecting your feelings onto other people, blaming others. But when you know yourself, first of all, you're not trying to hurt others because you know it's coming back. And you don't want that. Look, you don't want that smoke. You don't want that back on you. However you treat others, it is coming back to you, which is why I had the picture about the boomerang that I posted on Facebook not too long ago. And and I just wanted to mention the pic that goes along with this particular episode. That was that's based on the isms. You know, that was really based on the isms as far as getting in line for the my bad, getting in line for the beautiful lies, the comforting lies is two lines, the comforting lies and the unpleasant truths, and everyone is in the comforting lies, which is I think is that the blue pill? Anyway, so that's what that is, okay, and sorry about that. So that's what that is. Okay, let's see. We got us a caller. Let's see. Hello, welcome to One4ALLisLove with Sonya Spirit. And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Donna from Pennsylvania. Thanks for taking my call. I had just put it on. Are you taking questions?
Sure. What question do you have, Miss Donna from Pennsylvania?
Oh, okay. It's all right. I was in a relationship with someone, and he went to Turkey about 2-3 months ago, and he said he will be back, and he's supposed to be back Sunday, and he said everything will be okay with us because we were broken up for a little while. Do you feel what is going on with him? If I don't know if he's married or seeing someone.
Okay. You think he's married or seeing someone, or you're just unsure?
I'm not really sure. I mean, we went out for we and had a great relationship for 10 years. We didn't live together, but we were just going to settle down. But he said he wants to go away first for a while, and he'll come back. But something's just telling me, I don't know.
Okay. Well, Donna, if something is telling you I don't know, then let's listen to that. Okay. It sounds like you love him. Now, I'm not saying just throw him out, but you probably might want to have a discussion with him if you don't feel comfortable with what he has told you. I mean, does he often disappear?
No. He ran into. That's why we had split up. He ran into some problems. He lost his job and everything, and that's why he was going. That's where he's from, Turkey. And
okay.
He had a cousin out there, and I know he was supposed to something like come into money if he married her. That's where I got the idea from. Is that what he's doing, or?
Did he say why he was going home back to Turkey?
He said to talk about business with his father, about an inheritance.
Okay. And he's been gone about 2 or 3 months?
Since March, right before right when the pandemic, when it was about to start.
Okay, around March 19th. Okay. I mean, even though it had started before then. And so you said you guys were together.
Yes.
Is he coming back to stay permanently?
That's what he said on the phone. He was texting me, like sometimes he can't talk on the phone. He said he doesn't get reception, and it's a weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
He said the intentions. He keeps saying stuff. I says, well, what are you doing there? He says the intentions are good, and I'll talk to you when I come back. But I don't know. The last couple of years have been like kind of shaky.
Shaky how?
Well, he did lose his. Well, we had split up, and then 2 months later, when I went back with him, he had lost his job, and there were 2 very good jobs, and he had his own tree business and everything, and he had lost that, and he was around different kinds of people, like his own kind of people, Turkish, yeah, and I don't.
Donna, do you have a reason not to trust him? Be honest with yourself, because I don't know him.
Yeah, a long time ago, I found papers because we, like I said, 10 years, and about 4 years ago, I found papers. He had a fiance visa to bring her over here or whatever. And then he stopped it. He said, I'm not doing this. I think it was just for, him to bring her over here. But it didn't work out. In the 4 years that they were, great. That had going, over there. So I know something about some kind of money is involved with them, too, if they were to marry.
Okay, so he would get a dowry. Her family would give him money if he married her. I mean, that happens in some countries. I know, like in India, but I'm not sure about Turkey. I'm not that familiar with Turkey.
I'm not sure what it is. Something about an inheritance. I really wasn't listening because I thought it was a bunch of crap. I'm thinking, okay, he loves his first cousin, and and me. I'm going to tell you the truth. I said, you're sick, because I'm not used to that. I don't mean to offend, and but and he just says, no, it's not that like that. I'm not doing that. She's a friend, and I don't know. And then they just stopped talking, and then I don't know what happened. But him going over there for that length of time, and his brothers he don't get along with, so I don't know why he's over there.
All right. Okay. Well, he comes back on Sunday, correct?
Supposedly.
Okay. So let's give him till Sunday. You've waited this long, and clearly you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. It sounds like you still care about him. So if he is to return Sunday, and he has assured you that he is, and he said he will explain everything to you when he returns, is that correct?
I said, well, what are you going to do when you come back? Are you going to get an apartment, this and that? He said, well, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it calmly. So if he says he married his cousin for money, I that's the thing. I don't know whether I'm going to flip out or I'm going to say, okay, let me hear some more.
Well, do you really want to hear some more? Are you okay with a man marrying his cousin for money? Is that the type of relationship?
No.
That's where I'm getting at.
And
it sounds very complicated, a lot convoluted, and it may be all true. I'm not, but it still sounds complicated and convoluted. And if you're looking for, a relationship of your own, I don't see how marrying his cousin for money is helping, your relationship becoming stronger. So I would give it a whole lot of thought. It sounds like you've been following your heart. You have a lot of questions in your gut because you're not, you don't feel comfortable with some of what he's saying. But hear him out. Like I said, keep an open mind, keep an open heart. If it does, if he did marry his cousin or whomever for money, that might not be a healthy situation for you. But the choice is still yours. Okay? Just whatever you decide to do, make sure you go in with both eyes open.
Right. But, yeah, I don't think I would do that. No.
Because do you want to be, do you want a relationship with any married man, whether he's married to his cousin or someone else?
Oh, no, no.
Okay. Right. So, and he's probably, if he wants to talk about it in person, it sounds like it's going to be complicated because if it wasn't, I'm sure you could have had this conversation over a phone or before he even left. You might want to begin mentally preparing to cut ties in the event that he doesn't say what you believe. I'm not even going to say if he doesn't say what you want to hear. If he doesn't say the right thing and you don't believe it, okay? Because at the end of the day, because if you don't believe it, what's going to happen, Donna, is you're going to always question him. And that's not a healthy relationship. If you can't trust him, if you don't believe him, if you feel like he has other motives, not necessarily towards you, it could be towards other people, then that's not a healthy relationship, and it's not the best use of your time. You deserve better than that. If you're sitting around second-guessing what he's doing, who he's doing it with, why he's doing it, you deserve better than that. But the choice is yours.
I come from an old-fashioned Italian. I don't know about any of this stuff, so. I would listen to him. I would give him the benefit of the doubt. Like you said, sit down and talk about it calmly and collectively, but at the same time, follow your heart. If something, and don't be afraid to ask questions. And if it's not what you want, or if your heart is not feeling this is what you want, then don't pursue it. Just let it go. Just, end it as friends. If you can, just end it as friends. Now, and friendship can be anything you want it to be. You can communicate weekly or not at all. Yeah, not at all. I don't.
Okay, well, there you go. But give him till Sunday. Like I said, you've waited this long. So you want to extend him the benefit of the doubt. So you might as well continue going with that down that path. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him speak to you. Listen to what he has to say, and then follow your heart. Okay?
Okay. And it could even be that he was just, he was getting pressure from his family about something. And I don't know what that was about, but I guess I'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out Sunday. So, and if you want, I'd love to hear about it. If you want to call in next week and to follow up so that it has a happy ending. But if not, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated to call back. But I hope that helps. I hope that helps a little bit.
Okay, thank you, and I will let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we got a few minutes left. That was Miss Donna. Interesting. We were just talking about love. Okay, and so using Donna as an example, you can't really tell people what to do because you don't know all of the information. But what you can tell them is, maybe how to process it better. Truly, I think she loves them. She still cares about them, and she wants to give them the benefit of the doubt. So she needs to continue to follow that path until, whatever concerns she has dissipate. They no longer exist, and the relationship continues, and they live happily ever after. Or her instincts tell her, or her gut, her heart may say, hey, cut ties and run. Anyway, but that's a part of what we're talking about as far as cognitive dissonance. Following that heart. You know what you think, okay? We know what she thinks because she shared what she thought. But there's a conflict because she feels differently. She wants to give him the benefit of the doubt. So we'll see. So we already discussed how do I know when they are not aligned, because you don't manifest. As an adult, that's the easy answer, because they don't manifest. Remember the easy examples I gave for manifestation. Lost keys. What was the other one? Oh, shucks, it was a good example. But lost keys is the best one. And like just some of the ones that I've had in my life, just stating I wanted to live abroad, just stating that I wanted to work from home, long before coronavirus and whatever else. And because I made those statements and there was no conflicting feeling, there was no blockage, condition, or impediment, it came to fruition. And that's it. That's why I said we are natural manifestors, okay? There was no feeling preventing that thought, okay, from coming to fruition. The mind said, hey, we want to live abroad. The heart said, hey, okay. Look, I have no resistance to that, because that's what blockages and conditions are. I have no resistance to that. And it attracts the necessary energy and transforms it with the superconscious and manifests the experience. And that's how it works. So how do I identify when what is not aligned? How do I identify what is not aligned? Well, usually it's the feeling, because the thought, we think our thoughts and we speak our thoughts, okay? And we entertain our thoughts quite often, okay? So the thought is usually the known, is what I'm saying here. The feeling, the emotion, or the vibration may not necessarily be known, okay? And that when I say that is because you may feel that, I don't feel a certain type of way about money, okay? But yet you have issues with getting with experiencing what it is that you want, okay? So it's not like money's going to fall out the sky, but what will happen is you will attract the opportunities and you will attract the opportunities and participate in these opportunities. So when you attract them, you're going to recognize them when you see them. Okay, so you'll attract the opportunities, participate in the opportunities, integrate with the opportunities or the experience, which will produce or yield the fruit of whatever it is you want, the abundance of money or material possessions or whatever it is. Okay. So if there are no blockages, then there's no resistance. The subconscious doesn't resist. The subconscious doesn't judge. It goes with the flow, unless there's something saying, no, we're not buying that product. Like when I say you change your habit when you first decide you want to go to the gym. The subconscious may say, the first day you go, you're gung-ho, the mind is in control, you're doing it. Day 2 or day 3, subconscious might be saying, listen, I'm not feeling it today. I know you said, but this ain't what we do. There's a program or a condition. Now, and that one may have been implanted as an adult or a teenager. So something you have more control over. Okay. So whenever there's an impediment or a blockage, then it appears that the subconscious is resistant, but it's not resistant because it can't. That's not what it does. It's a receptacle. Now, if something is preventing the subconscious from receiving, then that's what we call the blockage, condition, or impediment. Okay. So generally it is the feeling that is not aligned. Okay, well, how do I correct? I got 2 minutes. How do I correct it? Correcting the misalignment will unblock your energy flow towards manifestation. Visualization, okay? And spending time. You have to spend time with these thoughts. So let's say whether it's love or money, whichever one, or something else, whatever your something else is. Education, Ivy League education, whatever your something else is. Whatever it is that you desire, it's the feeling that's not matching. So what you want to start doing is spend, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, daydream if you got the time. But visualize what it is that you want and all the benefits of experiencing it, all the good you can do with it. And I have 90 seconds to go. So what this does is that visualization, the reason you want to visualize it and imagine it and have positive and think positively about it, about how you would use it or apply it, or in the case of money, or how you will receive it, and how you will love, if we're talking about love, how you will give and nurture and help grow, dealing with love. Okay. So you take these thoughts, imagination, visualization, create a vision board if you want to, which is a tool. But you want to attach feelings to it. Attach feelings to this thing that you want. Okay? Positive feelings, loving feelings, embracing feelings, enjoyment, bliss, okay? Love, beauty, abundance, godly qualities to these images and thoughts, so that you can remove these blockages, remove those old programs. You have to reprogram yourself. And I'm so sorry, folks, I've run out of time. Email me with any thoughts at One4ALLisLove@gmail.com. Visit me on Facebook, Consciousness is Human, or Sonya Spirit, and One4ALLisLove on Facebook. All right, that's all the time I have, folks. Have a great day. I love you. Bye.